Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and check this out. Gold giant JP Morgan may move into precious metals clearing in Zurich. JP Morgan is looking to start clearing precious metals trades in Zurich, something that for years has been dominated by just two Swiss banks. The lender may begin to offer to settle its clients' trades using metal located in Zurich, according to people familiar with the matter, who asked not to be identified as information is private. Well, guess what? I know something about Zurich. Glint stores their gold in Zurich. The gold you buy in your Glint account, who is one of my sponsors, is stored in Zurich underneath the airport, is my understanding. They have a gold vault underneath the Zurich airport. Switzerland's a cool place. I've been there, actually. If you haven't been, one of the coolest places I've ever been in my life. When I was younger, me and some guys went and just hit the ski resorts in Switzerland. Zermatt, Switzerland is a little town that the train literally backs up into. You can't even get there by car, at least when I went there. And it's the coolest little town in the world, in my opinion. But it's like a really neat place. We just went in there and found a hotel and drank beer all night, as I recall. But anyway, a Glint account. You can open a Glint account. You get your MasterCard debit card. Put your gold in the account. The gold is physically stored in Zurich underneath the airport, and then you can spend the gold. And you could go to a restaurant tonight, and you could actually use your Glint card, spend it on your meal, and it tells you how many grams of gold that you have spent. Pretty cool in these times. Now, the Flare fight. The Flare brawl. What's a good word for it? I'm looking for thumbnails here, folks. The Flare, what rhymes with it? Well, Flare fight, I think I've already used. Flare, I'll think of something great in a minute. But anyway, Flare Community, who's one of the big Flare accounts, he is just disagreeing with Bob Way. We showed you this from Bob Way last video, I think. I respectfully disagree. Many people are laser focused on what happens to my 85% and cannot see the forest for the trees. They did a whole thread on this. Then Bob Way replies and he says, with all due respect, if you had a clause that says, 1, we will deliver the remaining 85% immediately. 2, we want to make all changes afterward, everything you said would still be true. And Flare would be known as stand-up people who keep their promises. And then the argument keeps going on, folks. And I'm not really going to jump in on all this, but you know, I said my piece. But it's very interesting to me that the Ripple guys are jumping in this fight. Bob Way's an ex-Ripple guy. David Schwartz is a current Ripple guy. I like this tweet. My current XRP, his exit strategy. XRP, that's a thumbnail. XRP exit strategy. You know what? I just thought of my thumbnail for the Flare thing. It's Ripple versus Flare. Ripple guys versus Flare guys. Isn't that what it is? But like it'll only hit $10. So have enough where you're happy if that's its max price. So in other words, have enough XRP so that if it only ever hits $10, it was good enough for you. Sell like it might reach $30 to $50. And keep a bag in case it goes to infinity and beyond. That is, what's the movie called? The cartoon movie, animation movie that my kids used to watch all the time. Tom Hanks was one of the voices. I don't remember. I'll think of it in a minute. Man, the memory gets worse and worse as I get older. This is Gary Gensler. SEC Chair Gensler advises U.S. troops to stay away from crypto. And I said, until JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs get in, then buy, right, Jim Cramer? That's about the size of it. Now, like this tweet, 99% of crypto will be gone. I agree. And 1% will be left. It will be the actual utility coins with actual use case for the fourth industrial revolution. Then we have the official cool guy, the digital asset investor, who checks in on a Friday because that's what cool people do.
Gary, are you there? Gary, are you protecting Barry? Gemini drops him a letter for his removal, and then you drop the lawsuit against Gemini. They shouldn't have had that earned product. But Gary, we see you.
How can you not like the cool guy? Now, he's talking about Barry Silbert, okay? And notice that Gary Gensler is not going after Digital Currency Group as of yet, okay? He's going after the Winklevoss brothers. Now, look, this is something you need to understand. The Cameron Winklevoss came out and attacked DCG. The board members that left were Glenn Hutchins, and also an advisor left, Larry Summers. Well, who's Larry Summers? Well, that's Gary Gensler, and that's Larry Summers, both in the Obama administration. Small world, huh? Gary's got, I mean, how for the life of me, anybody that has put Gary in the place that he is can keep standing behind this guy. This guy's involved in pretty much just about every financial controversy that you can name. Gary is somewhere in it. And not because he busted the racket, because he was meeting with the people that were in the racket, or he was buddies with the people that were in the racket. But it's never Gary busting up the racket beforehand. The pattern is pretty disturbing. Well, this is disturbing too. We haven't seen Gary Gensler's, now this is a public servant, supposedly, right? But we haven't seen his public calendar since July of 2022. We're missing August, September, I forgot October, November, December, all of those months we're not seeing. And we're missing those months against the backdrop of a guy that was having planning sessions with Sam Bankman-Fried. Now that's unacceptable, and I want to know why the Congress told us that this is going to be a new day. Tom Emmer said it. If it's going to be a new day, I want to know when the new day is, because I haven't seen it yet. Gary hasn't been held accountable for anything, including this. Remember this clip right here, bombshell, a few weeks ago, where the SEC chairman deleted key details of meetings with George Soros, that woman whose name we don't say on this channel, and Nancy lunatic whack job Nancy Pelosi. He hid those meetings, or that meeting, from his public calendar. That alone should be if we even had a country anymore, that would be a firing offense by itself. And now we've got George Soros. It's revealed that he was a player behind the Twitter operation to shut down the Hunter Biden laptop story, which would have kept the current president from even being elected, folks. I mean, we're talking about some major stuff here. Then we got this. Here's Tyler Winklevoss, and you'll have to forgive me if I have a hard time feeling sorry for Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. These two guys, they've never shown 1 ounce of support for Ripple or XRP. They wouldn't list XR. We kicked, screamed, begged, but they wouldn't list it because these guys are ideologues. And they hate Ripple. They hate everything that XRP is. So I had to welcome them to the party here, and they're griping about how the SEC has wrongfully come after them. Maybe so, but they're not going to get any support from me. They would have if they had been interested in things being a level playing field, but they were not. Then Eleanor Terrett is letting everybody know about Genesis and Gemini being sued. It says while lending products have far more features than a traditional security, there's still no use case law that defines what exactly a digital asset or product is, security, commodity, etc., underscoring yet again the significance of the Ripple lawsuit. Then we got this. Charles Gasparino is going out of his way to try to put a negative spin on everything related to the Ripple case. And every time he does, I turn it into a positive spin, okay? He says, more proof that if Ripple, I'm trying to illustrate the absurdity of these tweets by showing you could just as easily have said that in a positive way. Why are you not, Charles? That's my question. And it's consistent drumbeat too. It's not like one time. He says more proof that if Ripple loses, and I don't have an idea that this will happen or not happen is what he's saying. It will be open season for SEC enforcement actions. SEC's sues crypto firms Genesis and Gemini over lending product. Well, you could just as easily say this: more proof that if Ripple wins, it will save all of crypto. But he's taking the negative side towards the Ripple case every time, and you have to wonder why. Now, Charles Gasparino tries to downplay ETHgate like, oh, there wasn't much to that or whatever. Well, somebody, Stefan Huber, who is Mr. Huber now, was putting this tweet around yesterday, I guess. And so it reminded me, and this is the question, if there's nothing to ETHgate, folks, then if there was nothing there, then why has Joseph Lubin gone quiet? Why is he not out talking the way he's talking in this video clip anymore? Why isn't he bragging about their token issuance framework anymore? And what happened to his token foundry? When we first started talking about ETHgate, he literally had a token factory, and he was printing up tokens at will, and they were acting like they had this framework that they got from the SEC, and it is no more. And the question is why?
Talking about the issue about
I want you to listen to the way this guy was talking back in 2018, and you tell me there weren't some shenanigans going on.
Talking about the issue about securities. Now, what's your view about where the SEC is now? They've made some,
And ask yourself, do you hear anybody talking about the SEC like this in crypto? Well,
is now. They've made some, 50-50 kind of shutting some aspects of crypto and blockchain down and boosting other aspects. Where do you sit with SEC statements at this point? And, how are you talking to them, et cetera?
So we are big friends and fans of that organization. I think they're really understanding the space well. They are applying this thing called securities law to business in America and other places, as they have done for many decades successfully. They're identifying fraudulent projects. They're identifying obvious transgressions of securities law. But they haven't had a heavy touch, really. They've been gathering information. They've been taking some actions. They've been very clear that they understand there is this new construct, this protocol-based open platform.
So you think they get it?
Yeah, we believe they get it. They've introduced a new construct, decentralization, into their thinking. So in addition to the Howey test, they have this new construct that they're seeing certain things in. So they consider the Bitcoin network and token and issuance mechanisms. They consider the Ethereum network token and issuance mechanisms to be decentralized, and therefore no transactions involving those particular assets are considered to be transactions of securities. They have not said the same thing about other tokens, the Ripple token, for instance, and they were clear that they were going to come out with statements to sort of assess these different tokens, and I believe they've made all the statements about decentralization that they're going to make. And so Bill Hinman, Director of Corporate Finance, has been very clear about what you can do and what you can't do, and decentralization is a new element that they're working with.
So,
boy, he knew a lot, didn't he? I'm going to finish up with, well, actually, I'm going to get to that next. Bold prediction. This is XRP, the Standard Productions, who is parody. Bold prediction, case settles by the end of January. XRP to $15 overnight. Gensler goes into hiding in the Bahamas under the new name Harry Hensler. That made me laugh on a Friday. Don't forget, links in the top of the description. Ledger Stacks. I've already ordered mine. They're going to ship in April. The link's in the top of the description. This is where I'm most likely, in fact, I've got it written down to go and set up my ledger so that it can receive Flare and then figure out how to delegate it and all that stuff too. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Ledger Stacks, check it out. Thanks for listening.